What's going on, guys? Hope you're all well and welcome to 2016. Hope you all had an amazing new year. And today we are going to be flying somewhere different. We're actually going to be flying to Athens in Greece. And we're going to be departing here from runway 20 at Doncaster Sheffield Airport, Echo Golf Charlie November. I'm literally just getting everything sorted, getting the passengers and the catering services and all that lot sorted. And I will put in the weights and the fuels and everything once everything is completed. As always, we are in the gorgeous PMDG 777 in the amazing Lufthansa livery, which I'm not even sure they actually go to Athens, but again, I decided today we will be. There's a new destination for this airline if they don't already go there. I don't even know whether they actually fly from Doncaster Sheffield or not, to be honest. But anyways, yeah, so the catering has started. We haven't got a catering set for Lufthansa Airlines. It's just a generic one that I've chosen, so yeah, we've got the guys going in and out there, just delivering the food. I'll get the passengers sorted and everything in a second. Let's just get the FMC set up with the fuel and weights. We're going to be taking 84,021 pounds of fuel, and we're going to be flying at flight level 370 today, with around 70% like payload. I just set it to like 70 or something, around 70 or 80 usually in most of my flights, so we'll just stick it at that. Auto brakes I switched to RTO a second ago, and we will bring up the current weather. Let's just have a look at the weather. I'll get the altimeter and everything, and before we do anything I'm going to do the tests with the oxygen and make sure that everything's put in. So let's just bring the checklist up. So oxygen, pilot side, here we go. Just make sure we test it. I always do the tests now, so just test all three settings as per. And GSX is waiting for me to close the doors, which I'll do in a second. Just finish this test, there we go. I'll do the other side in a second. Right, so first, doors. Right, on the right hand side of the aircraft, they want to be closed. Catering is complete. Just make sure they're armed as well. And we'll do the first officer's side oxygen. So that all looks fine to me, so we can tick that off on the checklist. Flight instruments, right, we need the altimeter and the heading. The runway heading today is 200 for runway 20, conveniently. And we will get up the altimeter as well. I just need to call Active Skynex to get that. So let's have a look. Set the parking brake. Active Skynex, right, what's the altimeter? So the altimeter is 2900, so that's quite different to what we've got here. So let's just set that. I always set this on if this is a secondary altimeter, I believe, and I just find it easier than doing it on the barrows. So that's the altimeter set anyway, so we can set that as completed. That's the checklist done. Close that down, and now we will start with the ADIU and lights and the engines and the packs and everything. APU started, lights are on, and that's about it, to be honest. For now, let's just set the seatbelt signs on as well. And that's that particular part all done. We're going to set the heaters on because we have got quite a cold temperature outside. So we'll put the shoulder heater on and also the foot heaters about halfway. So now it's time to configure the FMC. So here we go, pause in it. Echo Golf Charlie November, gate 5, and GPS position, we'll grab that, stick it in there. We've already got our route set up, so I'm going to go to 777, and there we go, it's the Echo Golf Charlie November to Lima Golf Alpha Victor. I had to remember all that then, so I've just requested the route. It just makes it easier. I do all these on the online flight planner, and just export them, and then obviously if I need to make any changes, I do that before the flight. So we'll load that. That's all looking good. Not that I can see it because it's not even loaded yet, but there we go. So runway 20. I had to put little bits in myself and stuff on like a sort of, once I've downloaded it, I'll stick it into the aircraft and just make any changes, save it, and then on my next flight where I'm going to record it, obviously it's all set up for me. So there we go. We'll just, I don't know what the correct call sign is, but we'll just put Lima Foxtrot 685. Perf in it, accept that, flight level 370. Thrust limit, we'll leave that as it is. We're going to put some winds in a minute as well. So first we're going to put flaps 5, and then I'm going to bring the winds up at here, which are 120 at 6. So we'll stick that in there. So next page, 120/060. Stick that in there, and then previous page, and we'll put the centre of gravity in, V1, VR, and V2. And we'll put the V2 speed into the MCP in just a second. So that is 154. VORs, traffic and data, flight directors on both sides. And LNAV and VNAV will arm. And we need to put the altitude in there as well in a second. So, to begin with, we'll put the NavRad page up and just put the ILS frequency in. 110.50, which doesn't appear to want to accept it for some reason. Try it again, no. I'm just checking on the chart. Let me just have a look. It's definitely 110.50. We'll come back to that. Let's just put the fix information in. I usually do around 15, 30 and 150. 150 because that's usually where I start my descent. So 15, 30 and 150. There we go. So that's that sorted. Let's just go on to the menu pages. Just put the menu pages on for a second so I don't get confused. Flight level 370, so we'll stick that into the altitude. 370, there we go. That's sorted. We have got a little bit of frost this morning, so hopefully we won't have any major problems. Everything looks fine. Not much to really do, to be honest. I love the look of this aircraft, it's just amazing. I'm just going to have a look and just sort out this weird heart shape that we've got, because we don't want to be flying all the way around there. We just want to go straight to the first waypoint instead of Upton, because Upton is one of the first waypoints and it just does not make sense. 122.00 in the radios, that's just in case not GSX, Active Skynex, sorry, decides to fail and we need some ATIS information. TCAS has just passed, which is good. We're just closing some doors now because the passengers have been boarded, so that's all good. We don't need the doors open anymore, just the baggage to go, so we'll arm the doors and sort everything out. But yeah, I'm going to try and get rid of this heart shape at some point because we don't need that on there. Hydraulics on, and we'll configure the trim in just a second as well. Right, so let's just go back into the FMC because I'm going to have a look and see what this this problem is on the NavRad page in a second, as soon as I've done the trim. Oops. Okay, it doesn't want to work. There we go, wrong button. Press the wrong button. So we'll do the trim first, and I'm going to try and go back to the NavRad page at some point and figure out why it's not working. So 2.75 is for the trim. Just get that sorted. There we go. That's in position. And I'm just trying to think, is there anything that we've missed? Get the checklist up. We'll complete this checklist because we've completed all that. We've done all that mumbo jumbo. Get the engine page up. And in a second we will request pushback. So first off, here we are at Doncaster Sheffield Airport, Robin Hood Airport it's also known as. The baggage is literally just being loaded onto the plane. It's quite a foggy day, which is actually very accurate because it is very foggy outside today and the temperatures are very low. We have got quite a bit of ice. It's not snowing, but it's quite icy, so wish me luck with that one. But yeah, the plane looks gorgeous. We are almost set to go. Oops, the ground services are just spazzing out a little bit there, but there we go. Alright, so it's time to get rid of this annoying love heart shape. So we need to go to the legs page in a second. That's not where we need to be. There we go. Right, so as you can see there's a love heart shape there, and it's not really something that we want. We want to just be going straight to where we need to be. So, I'm going to go to the legs page, going to select that waypoint, and I'm just literally going to get rid of it all, so it's a straight line. There we go. Simple as that. Not much rocket science involved. It's just a case of getting rid of the unwanted waypoints, and so we can get off and just sort ourselves out. Ground connections removed, and we'll just make sure the doors are closed as well, because we need to close down the... Yeah, we've already done that, the cargo hatches. Sorry, I thought I'd left them open. But anyways, nearly ready to go. So, request pushback. Do you want to start the de-icing? No, I don't think it's too cold. But there we go. So, yeah, we want to go tail left.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Okay, so GSX has basically ordered us not to start the engines until pushback and brakes are set. Pushback's complete, should I say, and brakes are set. So we won't do anything until we're actually on the taxiway there. And it's just so we're ready for pushback. So I just have to remember not to actually start the engines. It must be some sort of security procedure that's done to ensure that there's no malfunctions until the aircraft has come to a complete stop. So we're almost sorted, all the lights are on and everything. So I'm happy with that. There's nothing major that we need to do. I'm going to turn the anti-ice on. I don't know whether that's going to help, but the temperatures aren't actually freezing, really. So I don't think we're going to have an icing problem. But it just looks very icy. It's not actually icy. I mean, the temperature's like 6 degrees, so... So release the parking brake, and don't start the engines. Okay, so it's just reminding us not to start the engine. So it's going to be pretty weird. I've never really done this many times. Pushback without engine start, but there we go. Nice wing view there. So we are pulling out from Gate 5 at Robin Hood Airport, or Doncaster Robin Hood Airport, or Doncaster Sheffield Airport, because it's got multiple different names. So this is, as I said, this is some scenery which I've downloaded, and it's a really nice, I think it's really accurate. It does actually reflect what the airport looks like. So Marshall over there just guiding us out. Not very much visibility in the distance, but we expected that anyway because of the weather conditions, because of the time of year as well. It is winter still, so nice January day. But yeah, I really do like what Active Skynex is doing to the weather, and Rex is also helping as well a great deal. So a lot of people ask me, can you do a video on how to install these scenery packs and these tools? To be honest, it's literally just open up an EXE and follow the instructions. There is no special way to install it, really. It's just you literally open up an EXE, you choose where your P3D installation is. Most of the time it does it automatically, and it installs. It could not be any simpler, to be honest. There's no secret, there's no smoke and mirrors. That's all you do. And it really is as simple as that. So anyways, parking brake on, and now we can start the engines. So here we go. Let's give it a whirl, see how we go. And I'll set the flaps as well in a second. So there we go, fuel flow. Sort the FMC out. Everything else is fine, so we'll set the flaps to 5, because that's what it says on the FM. I always use flaps 5 anyway, but sometimes you use different flap settings. I always use 5. But there we go, so that's a flap set. I'm just going to wait while the engines spool up. Or the engine number 2 spools up, should I say, and then we'll do engine number 1. Everything else is set up. And by the time I've actually done all this, the tug will be out of the way, and we'll be ready for takeoff. Engine 2 cut out, so we'll start engine number 1 now. That seemed to start up okay. It looks stable on the screen there, so that's good. All the pressures and everything looking stable. Left and right are clear. That's good. GSX is just letting us know that we are basically ready. Engine number 1 is spooling up nicely. Loving the way that the cockpit looks now, because we've actually changed the settings in P3D. Again, if you want a copy of those settings, go over to my video, my P3D config settings, or whatever I've named it. You'll find it on my channel anyway. And that file that's in there is constantly updated. It's a link to my OneDrive, and the file is in there, and it's constantly updated with exactly what I'm using right now. So in case you're wondering, just have a look at my settings, try them out. If they don't work for you, then obviously that's because you've got a completely different system to me, which is probably going to be the case, but there we go. So recall and everything else is sorted. We'll do the flight controls in a second. Here we go. So we'll do left, right, forward, back and rudder as well. Just making sure everything's fine. That's left and right rudder. Looking fine. And we'll do back and forward, or backwards and forwards, or whatever you want to call it. Back and forth. Everything's looking great there. So check the flight controls off, because we've done that. And everything is looking fine. Almost ready for takeoff. Ground equipment is obviously clear, because that got taken away ages ago. GSX told us to have a nice trip. Before takeoff is already done, because flaps are at 5. Let's turn off the APU. And I think we're almost complete. I'm going to turn off the anti-ice, to be honest. We don't really need anti-ice now. We're above freezing, so it's fine. Engines are started. Everything's going well. So, everything's clear. I'm just checking everything just to make sure. And we'll set off and make our way to runway 20. And hopefully make our departure. So here we go. I've actually started, instead of zooming away and like just putting engines to like 50% or something just to taxi, I've started doing it a little bit like, I don't know, a little bit softer now. Makes more sense really, just to do it gently. I'm getting a little bit better at taxiing, but I'm still not the best. Don't think I ever will be, to be honest. I'm just naturally a bad taxier. So anyways, let's make our way to runway 20 and I'll catch up with you once we're there. Alright, so here we are at runway 20, just approaching the threshold here. So might stop, I might not, I might just do a rolling takeoff. In fact no, let's just stop and just check for traffic first. It would be a procedure, there is none, but there we go. I've already switched on the strobe lights, and once we're on the runway we'll turn on the landing lights, runway turn off lights, and turn off the taxi lights before takeoff. So here we go. Off go the taxi lights. Strobes are still on until we exit the runway. Not doing a great job at taxiing to the centre of the runway, but there we go. I've seen worse days. Start the clock. And I'll try and get sort of centre of the runway before I actually put the engines to 50% just to test them. Here we go. Everything's looking stable. We are looking good. So, toga, there we go. See if we can make a good takeoff from Doncaster Sheffield here. The weather is it's not the best, so hopefully it won't cause us any major issues. Looking good anyway. Approaching V1.
V1.
There we go. There's V1, and rotate. And look at that, we managed to make a pretty nice takeoff. You can see it looks like snow, but for some reason it's not actually snowing outside. It's just a tiny little bit cold. It's not even icy like I said earlier. I don't know why I said that. Nice wing view. I like the effect on the trees and stuff. It does make it look quite nice actually. But yeah, we are away. So gears up. We will put the speed to around 237. It's a random number there, to make sure we don't go over speed. Autopilot on, and we should start following the route. So everything's looking good. Let's just turn off the strobe lights now because we're away from the runway. It's one of the main things I actually picked up. I've been researching and doing things about the lights and stuff, and get information about how they should be used. So just get the checklist up. The flaps need to come up, which we've already set them up. They're on the way up. There we go. Probably should have waited a little bit because we are still sort of going a little bit slow. Could have benefited from them still being out, but look at that. Look at that view. I love that view. Clouds and everything, the ground. This is all FTX Global and FTX England, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. So let's just set the speed to 240 now. Set the heading to around the heading that we will be taking any second. I'm struggling a little bit with EasyDock at the moment because I've actually set it to have the camera movements around, but not in this view. This is the MCP view, and it doesn't follow camera movements, and it doesn't shake around in this view, but in the pilot eyes view, as I call it, like this one, it does. It shakes around. It adds a little bit of a realistic effect to it, if you will. So that's pretty nice. These clouds are wrecks. They are not active Skynex, they are wrecks. However, active Skynex does have an impact on how many clouds there are and whereabouts they are. That's all that active Skynex does. But look at that, I love the wing view, especially on takeoff when you're like still close to the ground. It's pretty cool. So everything's looking good. There's not much really for us to do anymore, to be honest. We just have to wait, see how things go. Going to get ready to turn off the landing lights, there we go, and the runway turn off lights, because we are above 10,000 feet now. Seatbelt signs to auto. They'll automatically go off when they're ready. And we'll turn the logo light off because nobody's going to really see the logo light in the daylight anyway. It's just wasting power. But look at that, it's fantastic. I love it. So anyways, I will catch up with you guys once we are over in Greece for the landing. So enjoy the view, guys, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so welcome back, guys. We are now almost here, and as you can see, we've lost a bit of light on the way. It's been around almost 3 hours that we've been in the air, and we are now approaching Athens airport in Greece, and the scenery has been amazing, so I hope you enjoyed it. We're currently at 1,900 feet, just waiting to become fully established. We've got the approach hold on because the localizer has already begun to capture. We're going to reduce speed now, and hopefully we'll be able to sort ourselves out with the flaps and everything and get prepared for landing. Flaps need to be at 30 with a 137 knot approach speed, or final approach speed, or whatever you want to call it. So hopefully we'll be able to establish that. I've turned the heaters off because now we've got a lot more heat. Don't know why that's just happened. What's just happened? Alright, the autopilot decided to disengage. But just re-enabled it. That's a bit bizarre. I've no idea. I don't know whether I've like moved something or God knows. I've no idea. But anyways, set the flaps to 20. And we've brought back the speed to 190, or I've got it set on the MCP at around 190. Loving the scenery here. So anyways, yeah, 137 knots we need to be at, and put the legs page on the other FMC. Can see the runway lights there, the pappies. It's always a good sign. The glide slope should begin to capture anytime soon. 160 on the speed now. I love it. I absolutely love this. FTX Global, I've got to say. This is all FTX Global, because obviously I don't have FTX Europe or whatever else it is. This is all FTX Global, and the lights are amazing and everything's fine, so it's probably one of the best purchases I've made in P3D, has been this scenery add-on. And again, when it comes to installing these, people have asked me, literally all it is just opening up an installer and telling it to install. There is nothing special. It's not even, to be honest, it's not really worth making a video about, because it would be that short. The video would be that short. It would be pointless, because it's literally just a case of directing the installer to your P3D directory. Sometimes it does that automatically anyway, and then just clicking install, you know. But anyways, we've just set these strobe lights on. I always do it because we're sort of like approaching the runway now, just to let people know. We've got the lights on, landing lights on, and the runway turn-off lights. And I can clearly see the runway there. Look at that amazing view. That looks fantastic. I love it. Now that is what I call a big, massive change in scenery compared to what the default scenery looked like. Just look at it. The airport that we're flying to, Athens Airport, is a default airport. I haven't bought any scenery for it yet. But to be honest, the surrounding scenery that I get with FTX Global, it makes up for it. I really am not too fussed about the airport scenery in general. It's, you know, everything around it's perfect. So anyways, we just hit 1,000 feet, so we'll disengage the autopilot. The aircraft is now mine. And we'll see if we can do a decent landing here at Athens. Looking pretty good, to be honest. There's no wind, or if there is, it's just hardly any. So that's how I like it. Got everything set. 137 on the speed. I'm not sure what the go-around altitude is, or missed approach altitude, so I haven't set that on this occasion. Probably should have looked on the charts and found that, actually. We are a bit low, and it's telling me I should be a bit higher, but to be honest, I think I should do it. Or should be able to do it. Cancel that warning. This is probably going to be a bad landing.
200.
Minimums landing. No, I don't know. We should make it without crashing the aircraft. I should have been higher. I definitely should have been higher.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Now that was a smooth landing. I'm actually happy with that. Managed to keep it in the centre as well. That's pretty good for me, actually. That is pretty good for me. So all we need to do now is put the flaps away and put the speed brake away in a second when we get to manual braking. Turn off the auto brake as well. Let's just put things away. Flaps as well. And we shall make our way to the gate. Gotta say, I am actually impressed with that. I really am impressed with that landing, because I don't know about you, but when it comes to like smooth landings, I'm normally terrible. I always get it wrong, so it is a first for me to actually do one that smooth and that perfect, sort of in the middle of the runway. I probably did 1,001 things wrong, but there we go. So here we are. I'm just going to stop and just clean up a little bit and just sort a few things out. So first off, landing lights and runway turn-off lights off. Taxi lights on. We'll leave the strobes on for a second. TCAS off. Probably should have left that on for a bit, actually. Flight directors off. VORs, traffic and data off as well on both sides. And what else is there? We'll set the heading back to 360, speed back to 0 or 100, and altitude back to zeros as well. Everything else is looking fine. Don't really need the checklist, so I'll put that away. And yeah, so I think we're ready to taxi to the gate now. I couldn't actually see any gates on the way down, so this will be a challenge. I don't know this airport. This is the first time I've actually flown to it, so this is going to be pretty fun finding the gate. Right, so I managed to find a gate. It's just one of these park-up things where you literally just park in the middle of nowhere. There's no jetway or anything. And I've just realised that I completely forgot to start the APU. So when it comes to shutdown, we are now going to be buggered because there's no APU power. So I'm going to have to connect ground power and hope that that sort of makes up for it. But yeah, welcome to Athens in Greece. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Check out the rest of the videos and let me know if you want me to fly to any other destinations as well. I'll be happy to do it. Put it down in the comments. Check out the links in the description for all my social media. And as ever, again, thank you so much for over 230 subscribers now. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next flight, which hopefully will be next week. I don't know when I'm going to be flying. I don't know what I'm going to be flying. But anyways, leave me some suggestions and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.